RDTDaily.com presents a Tara Buster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right. I know it's a little square, the frame. Hey, this is Tara Devlin. I guess I can change that. I don't know. I didn't have time. Yeah, that's a little better. I'm working on things, so I had to get the show on the road here. Could make this a little bigger, maybe. All right, guys, this is Tara Devlin. That screen looks kind of weird, though. It don't matter. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We meet here every Friday, and I'm on time tonight, 8:30-ish Eastern Standard Time, right here at the Tara Buster YouTube channel. Oh, fuck. Wait a minute. I fucked up. We're waiting. Nothing is coming through. Let's try this again. I fucked up. Did I fuck up? Hey guys, this is Tara Devlin. Hold on 1 second. I gotta start the music over. It's a new setup, so hold on. Let me start the music. Back to the beginning music.
RDTDaily.com presents a Tara Buster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, guys, thank you for putting up with that. My name is Tara Devlin, and for those who don't know what happened, there's a little audio glitch. I don't know. Did you see that? It's because I set the stream up in a different way tonight. So I forgot I had to hit the live button. Go live. Let me just check. There's a little audio glitch. Okay, good. You saw that. Okay, it doesn't matter. Hi, Elise. Thank you for your super chat right out of the gate. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, Twisted Nerves Painting. Nice to see you, Jim. Thank you for being the moderator. There was an echo on the intro? My intro? What do you mean? Me talking? Wait, hold on. Me talking? Twisted Nerves Painting. Oh, no echo. The echo on the music? All right, I'll have to look. I'll have to look at this later. I'm listening. I gotta start. It's a new set.
Since a Tara Buster.
Oh no! I mean, I'm listening to it. It sounds all right to me. I don't know. Whatever. Let's just move it on, and we'll figure it out. The intro I'll figure it out. Thank you, Twisted Nerves Painting. We'll see. I'll have to listen to the recording after the fact and see what the hell happened. All right, guys, this is Tara Devlin, and thank you for hanging out. Okay, let's start over. We meet here every Friday evening, 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at the Tara Buster YouTube channel. And also, if you can, become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. I love you too, Elise, and I love everyone here as well. Thank goodness we're in this together. And we got a lot to talk about. And thank you, Charlie, from APS Radio News. Just saying hello. A shout out to Charlie from APS Radio News for helping everything you've done, everything you do to keep the community cats fed and warm in the winter. And everything that you do to make the world a better place. I hope all is well. Nice to have you in this community, that's for sure. All right, my friends, where do we begin? Oh, yeah, become a patron. Also, the plugs, if you can, become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Also, the show, I have a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays with the great Tara Devlin over at the Political Voices Network. That is its own YouTube channel. So the link is in the description. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week we had Hal Sparks as a guest, and there'll be more guests. So I'm very happy to report that we're in talks believe it or not, with Eric Swalwell. I have a hard time saying that name, but I'll practice it. Just kind of nailing down a time. So he'll be on the Tara Show and others. So we're going to get some more guests. Hal is amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to see the Tara Show on Thursday. I know Jim is a moderator over there too, and Kathy was there, and others from this feed went over and checked it out. But I don't know, Hal is just an incredible well of knowledge, and I really appreciate that, because I love how he connects everything with history, and that's what I try to do here too. And he has a knowledge of the history I had no idea. I had no, I didn't know about Olga of Kiev, which I'm going to do a deep dive on her because she sounds like a pretty badass bitch. And I love history, so. And others, and then, we're connecting it, bringing the receipts. But, okay, and tonight, this is why I want to talk about the great seashell panic. The great maggot manufactured seashell panic of 2025. I was discussing it with myself earlier because I was writing an article about it. I just didn't I didn't have enough time to put it up. I'll probably put it up tomorrow. And I'm also, the other thing, before I continue, I'm going to be doing some more shows for Political Voices, more commentaries, and it's so please subscribe to the Political Voices Substack, if you will, if you can, if it's a possibility. Subscribe to my Substack, Dublin's Substack, and all the people in the sexy liberal universe, that Substack. If you go over to politicalvoices.com, it's all there. And I'm going to be doing, commentaries throughout the day. Not throughout the day. I'll be doing, we got a name for it. It's called Devlin versus the News. So I'll be taking clips and checking out, and just basically, doing a commentary on it like we do here. But the things that I try to do is not just say this sucks, that sucks, blah, blah, blah. I try, and we together, I try to connect it and bring the receipts, not just to prove that Republicans are the domestic enemies that the founders warned us about, but also put this in historical context and give us the solutions to get this country back. Right? I think to me, it matters, where we came from in general with history. And that's why, actually, I love Steve Schmidt. I love listening to him. And that's the kind of, he's the kind of commentator I appreciate, because he does that too. He brings historical references in, and it is like it's like an education. And, so, but the other thing I wanted to say too, I love Steve Schmidt, but he's going on about how Biden, here's the thing. So who was the guy that wrote that book? Is it Jake Tapper? Now his name is escaping me. Who wrote the Biden book about him having dementia? Biden book. Who is... Somebody in the chat will remind me. Blah, 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 blah. Original Sin. President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again. And it was Jake Tapper and Axios journalist Alex Thompson. The thing that irritates me about this book is, who cares at this point, right? Okay, but Steve Schmidt keeps saying, and let me just give you my opinion on, and you can tell me what you think, obviously, and please do in the chat. Maybe I'm wrong here, because I do respect Steve Schmidt, even though, and if I get a chance to get him on the show, because he's one of the people I would love to have on, the Tara Show, and even this show too, of course. But I would love to ask him about Sarah Palin, because without Sarah Palin, there would be no Trader Trump. So how does, and I appreciate him being, he's a Democrat. He registered as a Democrat. He left the Republican Party. He's not one of these other, maggots who, whatever they did, they leave they leave and they become an independent. He became a Democrat because he said there's only one party that is pro small d democracy in this country, and that's the Democratic Party, and that is the truth. As much as, I have issues with them, and we talk about it on the show here, and we do, and we have to. Chuck Schumer, in my opinion, has got to go. And we need leadership. And I was listening to Thom Hartmann show early, and he was playing, if you listen on the Substack rather than the commercials, if you're listening somewhere else, you'll get speeches and Thom reading excerpts from books and whatnot. And on the Substack, he was playing FDR's speeches, and it was really getting me emotional, I have to say, listening to him. And because I thought, wow, I wish I could live in a time that had a progressive fighter like FDR in leading the Democratic Party. And I thought what the Democrats need to do, obviously, is channel FDR and maybe pick up, not maybe, what I want them to do is pick up the mantle of the Second Bill of Rights, FDR's Second Bill of Rights. Take that as a rallying cry, a rallying point, and promise to bring that to fruition. The Second Bill of Rights. And for those who don't know, let's see, Second Bill of Rights. Because FDR was 100% right when he spoke about the Second Bill of Rights. He presented it as, we've come this far. And the founders knew that the Constitution was an ever-evolving, living document. And let's meet our moment with a leap forward for this country. We defeated fascism. I mean, actually, FDR didn't live to see the defeat of fascism, but this was in the last year of his life. And if he hadn't had died, unfortunately, he would have brought this to fruition. And in his speech presenting the Second Bill of Rights, he said that once we defeat fascism, this is what we need to focus on. That the Second Bill of Rights, where the hell is it? Come on, my browser is very slow right now. How's the streaming looking? Because I'm getting that yellow warning bar. Second Bill of Rights. Let's see. It's not. Okay. Come on, browsers. Why do fucking people text me during the show? I mean, all right. Hold on, guys. Sorry about this. My browser's like completely slow. Second Bill of Rights. Second, a set of economic rights proposed by FDR in 1944. Unfortunately, he passed away before seeing the end of the war. And we would have had universal health care at this point. We would have had, could you imagine what a different world we'd be living in? The Bill of Rights, the right to a job, the right to come on, fucker. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Let me just straighten this out. They were, okay, here it is. Roosevelt argued that the political rights guaranteed by the Constitution and the original Bill of Rights were insufficient to ensure equality in the modern age. And he's 100% correct. To ensure it was insufficient in the modern age to ensure equality and happiness for all Americans. He proposed that a second Bill of Rights would ensure, one, the right to a useful and remunerative job, the right to find and maintain gainful employment. If we had the right to a job, see, this is completely possible if the country wanted to have a modern society that worked for all. You put people to work, making the country better. If you can't find a job in private, corporate, whatever, America, you get to go to work in our federal government. You can clean up the parks. You could be just like what happened when FDR put people to work in the New Deal, and the CCC and the WPA. But okay, this is all hopefully for the future generations. The right to earn enough for adequate food and clothing, the right to a decent home, the right to adequate medical care, the right for protection from economic fears, the right to a good education, the right of farmers to a fair income, and that I would extend that to just regular people against monopolies. And the next is the freedom from unfair competition and monopolies, the right to operate businesses free from unfair trade practices. And that would have been a pretty good foundation to bring this country forward, right? The right to a job, adequate wage, decent home, medical care, economic protection during sickness, accident, old age, or unemployment, and a good education. That's the second Bill of Rights. And what I think that the Democrats should pick this up and carry it forward. Why not? I guess they would cry socialism, but that's what they do anyway, so who cares? And we know that just like everything else, like Medicare, like Social Security, even though they hate it, even the maggots love it, even the maggots rely on it. So, as we know, the Republicans, they have to couch their assaults on freedom, on because that's, if you're not free, you're not free if you can't go to a doctor. You're not free if you're living paycheck to paycheck. I would argue you're not free. So we have a lot to work on in this country, and it was breaking my heart listening to the FDR's speeches, and someone who was unapologetically going after the big moneyed interests, the banksters, because that's what we have to do now. If this new gilded age of grifters and it's greed and grifters, right? That's what we're living in. If it says anything, if it tells us anything, it's that billionaires are anathema to freedom and democracy, that they must be stopped. They're sick. And I was thinking today, because there was some conversations going on Substack, and I wrote basically that, billionaires are anathema to freedom and democracy and must be taxed into submission. And someone wrote back how that, he agreed, saying that it's a sickness. Greed is a sickness, along with other sicknesses. You might have someone hoarding newspapers or just hoarding shit in their house, or you step in, you help these people, you get them help if you can, right? That it's not considered normal. It's not normal. What's the difference between that and hoarding money? You have more money than you can spend in 1,000 lifetimes. One person has more money than they can spend in 1,000 lifetimes, and that's supposed to be something to admire? No. It's something to understand that it's a symptom of a sick system. And I was thinking about, it's selfishness. That's what it is. It's pathological selfishness. There's never enough. You don't give a shit about anybody else but yourself. Walking over, basically, whether you are doing it literally or figuratively, you're walking over hungry people laying in the streets, families, people who can't go to a doctor, the hungry in this country. You're turning your back on that. And if this and when there's one person, let's say, who is a danger to the community, doesn't the community have an obligation to put that person in their place? Like, for example, Ted Bundy. What's the difference? Okay, let's follow me. Indulge me for a second. Ted Bundy and all these other, these serial killers, they commit murder for fun, right? It's an addiction, and of sorts, and that's how they describe it. But there's nothing more selfish than taking someone's life, and because for fun, because you want to jerk off or something disgusting like that. So what do we do with these people? We find them, we catch them, and sometimes they pay the ultimate price, because I'm somebody that I don't really believe in the death penalty except for serial killers, but, because I think that if you are killing people for fun, that's the, you don't get to play in our reindeer games anymore. In the very least, you're put away in a box, and that's it. You're away from humanity to do no more damage. What is the difference between that and people who hoard because of selfishness? Hold on a second. Am I going off on a limb here? But because I consider it kind of the same. Some billionaires are hurting people. How many people is Elon Musk gonna kill because of his power trip? Right? Ed the second on the chat said it's a power trip. Yes, it's an addiction. It's a sickness. There's something wrong. Something morally wrong. It's an aberration in somebody's development that they don't have enough money, and they cut lifelines. They cut people's medications. You're talking about they know they're going to kill people. They know they're hurting people. He knows it. He doesn't give a shit. He's dancing around with a chainsaw. So what's the damn difference? We have an obligation, just like we had a manhunt these, Ted Bundy and put him away. We have an obligation to contain this other form of sickness, this other selfish, pathological selfishness. It's the same kind of psychopathy that doesn't give a shit about anybody but themselves, right? I don't know. That's how I feel. I think that, it will get to that point. We will get to the point of, the French Revolution, if it comes to that. I hope it doesn't have to go there. But, so to get back to Steve Schmidt, talking about, Biden and him having dementia. Now, first of all, I just saw clips of Biden on The View. And you guys know that my father had dementia, so I have a little bit of experience with dementia. This is why it really irritates me. Joe Biden does not have dementia. Now, is he diminished? Was he diminished? Did he have to take a fucking nap? Who cares? So what? He got a hell of a lot of shit done. He left office with more jobs than any other president. He left this baboon, this freaking goddamn convicted felon con man, with a great economy that was the envy of the world. So, keeping the rest of the world economy afloat. And then this disgusting serial bankrupt convicted felon comes in and crashes it for fun. And, all right, just going back to Biden, who cares if he needed a nap, if he got tired at night, okay, What do you think the fucking baboon is doing? He's not. First of all, let's not kid ourselves. He is not the president. He's a figurehead. He is the front man for all of the billionaires who are smashing and grabbing our federal treasury. That's it. That's why Elon Musk is with him on the bribery tour of the Middle East. You think they're talking about making the world safe for democracy? What do you think? You think he's talking with Mohammed bin Bonesaw about how the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no more? Huh? So that's one of the things. When I listen to Steve Schmidt, which I do often because I subscribe to his Substack, and I love the way he turns a phrase, that's for sure. But come on. He's like, this is all about the truth. We have to tell the truth. Democrats have to rebuild trust and tell the truth about Joe Biden. Yeah, what's the fucking truth? He was hounded out of the race. He had a bad debate, and he was hounded out of the race, so whatever. And I do agree that Biden should have not run again, because that was his promise. He was going to be the bridge. He would run and win the presidency from well, he wasn't convicted yet, but from the freak, the con man, and then he would pass the torch, and that's what he should have done. But anyway, he didn't. So there was a primary, and people chose Joe Biden, but George Clooney, after a debate, didn't like what he saw, and he was hounded out of the race. So, but okay, whatever. It's not like we weren't discussing Joe Biden's age every effing day, and we talked about it on the show. Enough with this. Every day there was a poll. Is Joe Biden too old? That's all. That was the focus of even before the debate about Joe Biden's age. And because the problem with Joe Biden is that he's not a good communicator. He doesn't know how to talk. He don't talk good like me. So he gets a bum rap because of his stuttering, and that's part of the problem. That is a problem. Why they should have sent Harris out there. Why don't the Democrats listen to me? By the way, I'm just pissed off about that too, because they should have sent Harris. She should have been out there every day at a ribbon cutting in Perjury Trader Green's district, talking about all the jobs that Democrats created and Perjury Trader Green voted against. But they didn't, right? So in the solar panel factory in Perjury Trader Green's district, I often imagine how many Let's Go Brandon stickers, bumper stickers, are on people's cars in that parking lot who wouldn't have a job if not for Joe Biden. But anyway, but the Democrats have to be communicators. They have to communicate. And that's part of the job of being president. So, okay, Joe Biden sucked at that. They should have sent Harris out. But why? Even talking about it now, it's like enough. We don't need to focus on this. The problem isn't Joe fucking Biden at this point, for Christ's sakes. And yes, exactly, Ed on the chat. After bringing us Palin, Schmidt should shut the fuck up forever. Well, I don't know about forever, but he should, come on. Give me a break here. He's the one who, knowing, and I have heard his excuse, so I'll tell you. If we ever get him on the show, I'll ask him again. But he said that, because they got Sarah Palin, and they were trying to prep her to be the vice president. They were giving her crash courses in history and reality, I hope, as you got to do with Republicans. They're not very smart, and also they're ignorant. You don't have to be. I mean, you could be smart and not know history, right? But we're talking about a willful ignorance with the Republicans. they cling to that ignorance. They have this arrogant ignorance. When I don't know something, I say, "Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that. Tell me more," whatever. They pretend they know it. Like when Sarah Palin gave us a history lesson of Paul Revere ringing those bells, right? He was ringing bells or something, tooting those horns and ringing those bells. And she didn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Paul Revere. She when she was a child, there was a poem. Listen, my children, and you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere. That's all she knows. Like the baboon, right? He wants to open Alcatraz, right? You know why? Mary Trump pointed it out. Because the night before he made an announcement of opening Alcatraz, there was a movie. A movie was on. And it was Escape from Alcatraz was playing on one of Donald Trump's, on one of the channels, I guess. Turner Classic Movie. I don't know. But that's not a coincidence. He watched Escape from Alcatraz and then said, we're going to open Alcatraz. So this is where they get their reality, their history. They get it from things that they watch on TV, that they overhear in an elevator. They're not like scholars or anything. They don't have the intellectual curiosity to go and find out. Right? I mean, am I wrong? No, I'm not. I wish I were. But so Sarah Palin, of course, just like the rest of them, and that's what's so irritating too, besides everything else, is that they have this, they have this unearned arrogance. They have this, their arrogance to tell everybody what to do when they don't even know what the fuck they're doing themselves. That's why they cling to authoritarianism. It's so much easier to be in an authoritarian system, isn't it? It doesn't require anything of you. You just have to listen to the daddy. Listen to your daddy as he saves you from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place. Hold on. This is Tara Devlin, Unapologetic Liberal Talk. Become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Yes, and so according to Steve Schmidt and Nicole Wallace, who also worked on that campaign, on John McCain's campaign, they picked her because she ticked certain boxes, right? Like Johnny Bravo, she fit the suit. And we're talking about Sarah Palin. And for those who just joined us, and Steve Schmidt, who is annoying us because he's bashing Joe Biden's age, saying, the Democrats have to be honest. They have to come forward and talk about how they covered up Joe Biden's age. How did they cover it up? What? He took a nap at night? We didn't tell everybody that he was taking a nap? I don't know. He was getting shit done. I don't give a shit if he takes a nap, right? Just like I didn't give a shit that Bill Clinton was getting a blowjob. I don't care. He was getting shit done. Some of the things I didn't approve of, but like the Telecommunications Act and whatnot, but he was still at least getting things done. He was still working. And getting things done in the positive sense. That's the other thing that irritates me about corporate media and in general. They're always like, oh, yes, why can't the Democrats and the Republicans come together to get things done? Get what shit done? When Republicans and Democrats get together to get things done, nobody wins except the 1%. They're getting shit done for the 1%. People are getting fucked. That's what's happening. But so, according to Steve Schmidt and Nicole Wallace, they not only knew that Sarah Palin was a well of unearned arrogance and ignorance, and very much earned ignorance, I should say. They also getting to know her, they understood that she was unfit. Her personality was not anywhere near capable of being the vice president, much less like a 79-year-old man's heartbeat away from the presidency. And she was unfit emotionally. She would crack up and fall into a well of tears, not be unable to cope. She was under a lot of stress. But that's the vice presidency, I guess, right? And the presidency. This is what I'm talking about with Republicans. You want to talk about covering up and unfit. You gave us Sarah Palin. And on top of it, he said that not only was she unfit emotionally, spiritually, he said she was also mean. She was just a mean person. She had a mean streak just like Trader Trump, the rest of them. She's just a petty well of grievances where she would not forget the slightest slight. And she was mean to people. She treated people like shit. So he saw right off the bat, and so did Nicole Wallace, that she was not fit to be the vice president. But instead of coming out and saying, look, and John McCain knew this too. This is the other thing. He figured it out. So shame on him, right? The maverick. Wouldn't it have been pretty mavericky if he had said, look, we made a mistake. We got another vice president. We realized Sarah Palin is not, she's not the right choice. We're going to go with this one. And then you spin it as we thought she was good. The more we got to know her, the more she sucked. So next, and I'm not going to do that to the country. We're going to have someone who I believe is fit for the presidency, much less the vice presidency, because you never know. Wouldn't that have been mavericky and would have been something? Honestly, people would have been impressed. I believe they would have been like, wow, he really does care about the country, doesn't he? He saw he made a mistake and he adjusted. That's what life is about, isn't it? So he didn't do that, and Nicole Wallace and the rest of the campaign kept it a secret that who Sarah Palin was. They unleashed her on society. They thrust her into the world stage. She was just a big fish in a small pond up in Alaska, but then she was everywhere, right? Then she was on the national stage, and we couldn't get rid of her. And that was because of Steve Schmidt, who is now talking about Joe Biden like this was this big cover up, when I don't see the drama, really, right? I mean, that's the book. If Jake Tapper wanted to release a book, he should have released it during the campaign. Wouldn't that have been, or whatever, I don't know, whatever. Maybe it wasn't ready. Who cares? It's pointless. I could see it getting a lot of play at maggot media, but I mean, we got bigger fish to fry here. So, okay, back to what was I talking about? Yes, the great GOP seashell panic of 2025. All right, let's do this. I got this new thing here. This thingy thing. Oh yeah, that's another story I had on deck. Alrighty, that's Doge, fucking fake Doge. All right, so here's the great. This is the beginning of the great manufactured maggot seashell panic of 2025. So James Comey put this on Instagram. 8647. Oh my goodness! Now, maggots are on full faux rage full manufactured faux rage all over their Russian-funded influencer channels and Fox News, the network that makes its viewers less informed than those who watch no news at all. And they're conflating 86 with James Comey calling for Traitor Trump to be assassinated. Of course, this is a very fascist tactic because, it's very fascist to be the oppressor, okay? And while simultaneously claiming the mantle of the oppressed. And that is fascism tactic 102, okay? And that's what they're doing here. They're trying to chill any kind of dissent and to, make Traitor Trump out to be a victim. It's absolutely ridiculous. And but here's Traitor Trump talking about it. Come on. I wanted to play that in its own screen. Why is it not doing that? Hold on a second. Sorry for making that annoying voice. Interesting. It's all new setup here, guys. So I am getting used to it as well. Let's do it this way. Trying to play it off the screen. No, here we go. Well, here's Trump calling for violence.
Knock the crap out of him. I'd like to punch him in the face.
I don't condone violence, and I don't talk about violence.
I would have done well, but I would have been boom, boom, boom. I'll beat that. I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will.
Maybe he should have been
absolutely
roughed up,
unbelievable.
because it was absolutely disgusting what he was doing.
If you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
You would? Traitor Trump? What a tough guy. Tough guy, right?
If you do, I'll defend you in court. Don't worry about it.
No, he won't. He's cheap.
In the good old days, this doesn't happen
because
they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, they would not do it again so easily.
Do it again.
We become weak. We become weak.
No, you're weak. We've become weak.
And I thought it was
from
very,
him.
Very appropriate. The audience hit back.
Unbelievable.
And that's what we need a little bit more of now.
Part of the problem and part of the reason it takes so long is nobody wants to hurt each other anymore, right?
Wow.
I don't know if I
Can
would have done well,
where
but I would have been out there fighting, folks.
What we have to endure?
I don't know if I would have done well, but I would have been boom.
You would have been boom, boom, boom. What a tough guy, right? He talks and types so tough. Doesn't he? Boom, boom, boom. I would have been in there, boom, 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 beating the crap out of everyone. No, you wouldn't have. Because you're a fucking coward. But here's the traitor talking about James Comey.
I knew exactly what that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI
what a victim.
Director, you don't know what that meant.
What?
That meant assassination.
No. Hold on a second. It doesn't mean assassination. It means it's commonly it means a restaurant is out of something, right? 86 is slang for removing something. A bartender removing a rowdy patron. 86, that patron. Only a devious mind, a devious fascist mind would project that. It's assassination. Right? Because that's what Republicans think. They project their devious mind onto others. They think everyone has a devious mind like they do, which is why, when they go on about the weaponization of government and everything else that they conflate and project, they're saying that others are doing it because they're doing it. That's what they do. These are the people who this is the con man who sent a mob to hang his vice presidents. He openly talks about shooting people in the face. Liz Cheney, right? Shoot Liz Cheney in the face. Where is that? Here.
And I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter, but his daughter's a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk.
Wow.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it.
Unbelievable, right? Just, let's put her with 9 barrels. How about Trader Trump talking about Nancy Pelosi's husband?
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody
You
know?
scumbag. Fucking disgrace.
And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her
you
house.
Pig.
Which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. God, these people. Right? Where's the one I had with Tulsi? Because this dead-eyed bitch, Tulsi Gabbard. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do.
Look at her.
Any other person with a position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what
Unreal.
the propaganda media has built him up to
Propaganda
be.
media.
I'm very concerned for the president's
Built
life. We've
him
already
up.
seen assassination
We
attempts.
hate him.
I'm very concerned for his life, and James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable
it.
and put behind bars
Put
for
him.
this.
Get him. Get him. I mean, I dare you, maggots. Go get him. Because I want them to show themselves. Show your cards, maggots. And I just have to point out how dead in the eyes Tulsi Gabbard is, especially here.
Influence.
Look at those
that
dead
he
eyes.
has.
She is a dead-eyed dum-dum. And the this guy, Waters, is that his name? Waters? His perpetual face of smugness is really hard to endure. But, yeah, go for it, maggots. Pick them up. And you know what I found so funny is, like, we're not like you, maggots. And here's the thing. Here, let's put that back up. So, as I was saying, 86 is slang for removing someone. Nobody would think, 86, that patron, because he's too drunk, 86 him from the bar. No one thinks murder him. Unless, you're a maggot, I guess. They think murder. But in democracies, voters 86 politicians at the ballot box. That's why I found this incredibly interesting. This is textbook authoritarianism. It is doublespeak. It is claiming the mantle of the oppressed. It's like when Kristallnacht, right? The Nazis attacked the Jewish businesses and burnt Jewish businesses, broke glass, right? Night of broken glass. And they did it under the pretext of that the Nazis were under attack, that the Jews were attacking the Nazis, and then they actually had the temerity, they actually charged the Jewish business owners for the cleanup, the ones that they had targeted and whose businesses they had destroyed. They charged them for the cleanup because, they were the ones that incited the violence. And that is the whole thing with the Holocaust and everything, and the crimes against humanity that happened during the last century. During the time of the Nazis that the Republicans admire so much, and Elon Musk admires, and wants, they want to bring this back into, a governing philosophy, but they were always under attack. That's what they justified killing, the Jews, where they had to strike first because it was a matter of self-preservation. They were the victims, not the victims, not the actual victims. So that's, it's very maggot. It's very authoritarian to frame to frame themselves as the victims, when of course you don't even have to look very far to find examples. Here's on Amazon, they're selling merch, $86.46, right? A t-shirt, you can get a sticker, you can get a t-shirt. You can also get this truck sticker, that you put on the back of your maggot truck of the President of the United States, Joe Biden, hogtied and kidnapped. This is something that the convicted felon con man reposted on his tacky social media site. No, but they're not stoking violence, are they? All right. Here's January 6th. There's only one political party that thinks, and in fact studies, when they do polls, they ask Republicans, they ask Democrats, what do you think about violence? Do you think it's justified? Is it ever justified to use violence to solve your political differences? And the majority of Republicans say yes, violence is sometimes justified. I guess when you want to own the libs or something like that. Right? You don't see Democrats acting like this. Right? That's Trump's pals. That's his shock troops. These are the people he pardoned. So, this hysteria it stems from the same kind of Nazi logic, of course, pretending that this beach art, this vague beach collection of shells is a call for assassination. And Tulsi Dead-Eyed Gabbard, who is a threat to our national security, of course, she mentions the assassination attempts against the con man. What assassination attempts? A couple of people took a shot at him. He wasn't hit. We all know this. He milked that for all it's worth. But they were registered Republicans. 2 registered Republicans, stoked and incited through Trump's incessant, pervasive, stochastic terrorist language, right? His rhetoric of stochastic terrorism, took a shot at their dear leader. One, because he was a registered Republican that was disappointed, apparently, that traitor Trump was leaving Ukraine to their fate. He was abandoning a Democratic ally that we had agreed to defend in case of invasion. But of course, Republicans, they don't give a shit about keeping their promises. They don't care about America's good name. They wipe their ass with America's good name. They have aligned us with the world's most disgusting dictators. You don't see Trump. This is the other thing, just an aside, when he's on his bribery tour, it's not an aside, it all connects actually, but he's on the bribery tour of the Middle East. You see the way he treats these human rights violators, to put it very mildly. The way he kisses their asses, he goes on about their beautiful marble. I mean, he's such a dullard, too. He has nothing interesting to say. And he is an embarrassing baboon. A baboon would be better, really, I have to say. Hold on. Wouldn't a baboon be better to send to another country on a diplomatic mission than Trader Trump? He's not doing any diplomacy. He is setting himself up for more money, in that gaping black hole of need and greed that he calls a personality. That's what he's doing. They're not there talking about the forgotten man and woman. In fact, the forgotten man and woman is paying for all this shit. The forgotten man and woman is, cutting their diabetes medicine in half again. Choosing between rent and medicine, or going hungry so they could feed their kids. Right? That's what the forgotten man and woman is doing. And now they're coming for every lifeline because the richest people on earth don't have enough. Now, there are more of us than there are of them. I hope we could figure this out. Right? But to get back to Comey, this is bullshit, of course. The Republicans, they know exactly what they're doing. They're not fooled by their own bullshit. Some might be, because they like to play the both sides. Both sides do it. Both sides are violent. First of all, when Tulsi says this is a man of influence, nobody is going to take to the streets, much less commit violence, because James Comey posted a picture of seashells. Okay? Maybe maggots are capable of that kind of stupidity, but not normal people. Not people who don't vote maggot. Non-maggots, normal people. No one is going, we finally got the order from James Comey. We got the signal. He sent up the signal. And let's go. Let's take to the streets. It's time. It's ridiculous. First of all, we hate James Comey. I don't like him. He's responsible for Trader Trump's first maladministration. He's a blowhard, a bloviator. Good people, reasonable people can disagree. Shut the fuck up, James Comey. Go away, James Comey. Who cares? Give us all a break, please. But if he found that on the beach or whatever, who cares? See, this is what we're dealing with. Maggots looking for any excuse to chill free speech. That's what they're doing. They're trying to stop people from even imagining a world without Trader Trump. And they know what they're doing. It's about suppressing free speech while they fearmonger about book, they use fear to justify book bans, the erosion of civil liberty. They shove their faces into places they have no business being, into people's private, medical choices, and they're trying to get health care and shit that these maggots have no business having any say in. But, their base is all steeped in the QAnon delusion about deep state paranoia, and they're being primed to interpret any criticism of Trader Trump as a threat. This is a tactic that lets them paint accountability, the call to action. Get rid of this maggot monstrosity. Right? Any call to get rid of him, to 86 him as persecution. It's bullshit, right? This is a guy who urged his supporters, as we just heard, to knock the crap out of protesters. He praised a congressman for body slamming a reporter, right? He called for the execution of General Mark Milley and Liz Cheney, and now they're having a meltdown over a picture of seashells. So go for it, maggots. Arrest him. Please, I want you to. I dare you to. Because I want them to overreach. I want them to show their hand. But this is a whole. It's like anything. It's like when Kristi Noem found out about the murder of that, I can't remember her name, Erin. I'm sorry, her name is escaping me. In Illinois, and she went to, because they don't like Governor Pritzker of Illinois, so she went to, she had her staff on alert, combing, just keep an eye out for any news alert that said that came across your phone or whatnot, alerting us to someone being murdered in a blue state, especially a so-called sanctuary city, so they can politicize it. And then when it came through in Illinois, she went there to talk about how this is the result of sanctuary cities and all that. So it's the same kind of tactic. They were waiting for somebody to do something like this, that they could go, both sides. They could clutch their pearls and say, they're trying to kill our glorious, dear leader. They want him assassinated. All he's doing is making America great again. All he's doing is not forgetting the forgotten man and woman. The deep state is after him. Comey, the deep state that allowed the mother effing less vote getting con man become the so-called president the first time. So, this is, and what struck me is that that everything's a confession or a projection. And this isn't a hypothetical about chilling free speech. They're authoritarians, guys. We know this. Trump wants to be a dictator. He said it. He's going across the Middle East on his bribery tour, and you don't. And that what I was saying, actually, I don't think I finished the sentence. But you don't see him behaving like this, like how he's behaving with Mohammed bin Bonsar, so so gracious, so complimentary to Mohammed bin Bonsar, and saying what a great guy, what a great country that is literally a Handmaid's Tale. Okay, it's a human rights cesspool where they execute people in the public square, where women walk around in potato sacks if they can at all, where they can't drive, and they're treated like shit. They have no rights. That's a dreamland for maggots. That's for sure. But he never talks like that about our Democratic allies. For our Democratic allies, he's got warnings, right? You got no cards. You got nothing. You're starting World War III, all this bullshit. He's got criticism. He attacks the Democratic allies. Governor Trudeau, right? Would he ever call Mohammed bin Bonsar Governor bin Bonsar? Scumbag. He's such a scumbag. And actually, to call him a scumbag is to give him a promotion, because scumbags have a purpose. You need a bag to put your scum. Where are you going to put your scum? Right? They have a utilitarian purpose. What is the purpose of Traitor Trump? I argue there has been no human, well, he's up there, no human more useless than him. Prove me wrong. I could take this, if I sat down for a day, I can write a whole dissertation on that. Prove my case. The hypothesis. Here's the hypothesis. There is no human who is more useless than Traitor Trump. And I could break it down and bring the receipts. That's for sure. I should do that. for the Political Voices channel, right? But so here's the thing: when James Comey, like we give a shit, says 86-47, it's nobody cares. We're not like, oh, he must mean murder. Only people who think like that think, oh, he said we have to murder the con man. And the Republicans project their manias onto normal people. They think like that. So they think that everybody else thinks like that. But the thing is, when you say 86-47, that means, legally and peacefully. We are Democrats, small d Democrats, we have a party, the only pro-democracy party in the country, the Democratic Party. So when you say 86-47, no one thinks, let's plot the assassination. We think elections. The founders gave us a mechanism for removing a president. It's not violence. It's not an assassination attempt or a successful completion. It's an election. But that's what Republicans hate. And what struck me too is that when they say, oh, Democrats want to assassinate Trump, or this is what Comey is saying, he's giving the signal and he's got a lot of influence. I mean, what are they saying? Are they saying that the only way to get rid of this baboon is to unalive him? Is that the only way he's going to leave the office of the presidency? By being going to meet his maker? Right? Because that's kind of like what kings do, but not presidents. So why would you automatically jump to assassination? Because we have a system where presidents get the fuck out after a certain amount of time, right? So why would you automatically assume that people are saying 86 him? Because frankly, if he was 86, we get that J.D. Vance, and nobody wants that either. Nobody wants any of them. What we need, and what Democrats are talking about, is getting the House back. Getting back the Congress. Hopefully the Senate too, for fuck's sake. So we can stop this baboon. So we can impeach his ass. Again. For all of his crimes against humanity and crimes against the Constitution. Including the ones he's committing right now. You better believe it. His plane. I mean, I've never heard anyone whine so much about a plane. Oh, poor fucking baby on Air Force One is so bad. What a horrible plane, Air Force One. In fact, I'm saying that facetiously. According to people who've been on it, it's a goddamn palace. It's already a palace. It's a nice plane. It's not a piece of hunk of junk. But fuck him. Sometimes that's all you got to say. That's the only political commentary you need is that. But, it reminded me of when these maggots are like, oh, they want to 86 him. That means murder. From the 14th century on, it was illegal. It's illegal to even imagine the death of the king or the monarch. So Henry VIII, for example, when he was on his deathbed, the doctors didn't want to tell him. They were afraid to tell him that he was going to, he's going into the light soon. And they were afraid to tell him hey, you know what, you better get the priest in for last rites. Because they didn't want to be accused of treason and dragged to the tower. So, because it was illegal to even imagine the death of the king. So, is that what the maggots are saying? We're not talking about death. We're just talking about a time when that baboon is gone. And here in our constitutionally limited democratic republic, we do that via elections. So why, maggots, are you jumping to assassinations other than the fact that you think he's a king, that you think he's a monarch and that he's not leaving, that there's no getting him out of the office of the presidency? Because he ain't leaving until they take him out in a body bag, right? Till he collapses. And until his goddamn hardened arteries finally seize up his heart. While he's ordering a Diet Coke on the button. Legally and peacefully. But, yeah, I mean, is that what you're saying, maggots? There's no getting rid of him? Because that's what I heard when he said, when they're like, they jumped to this, because the only people who tried to even come near him with a bullet were Republicans, registered Republicans, Trump voters, who weren't shy about the fact that they voted for Trump. So give us all a break, Republicans. And they were looking for any excuse, as I was saying, any excuse to get Trump's bribery tour off wherever, off their, off of their propaganda channels. That's it. They're not attacking Comey's seashells. They're attacking the fundamental idea that power comes from voters, not from violence. Right? I mean, this is how democracy dies. Not just in darkness, but in distractions. Please, Republicans. I mean, save it for your therapists, for fuck's sake. Tell me, guys, am I wrong here? Am I reading this wrong? Because that's how I'm hearing it. It's not just them. I mean, of course, they all know they're full of shit. Tulsi Gabbard, when she's on Fox News saying, yes, James Comey should be arrested, she knows she's full of shit. They all do. They know what they're doing. They're trying to have, the both sides, and they're trying to chill free speech. Here's another maggot, Jack how do you pronounce this guy's name? Jack Proziek. Look what he posted on January 29th in 2022. Jack Proziek, maggot, well-known maggot, 8646. Did anyone have a meltdown? Did the normal people have a meltdown? Nah, I mean, you don't have to Google very hard. You don't have to work your fingers into calluses finding evidence of their utter hypocrisy all the time. This is the same guy, okay? Jack Proziek, who said 8646 on the same Twitter account. He is now saying James Comey should be arrested and sentenced to dismantle the FBI building by hand, brick by brick, like the Israelites building the pyramids, but in reverse. That's what he just wrote today. Very clever, Jack. Because they hate the FBI, as we know, right? They hate the FBI now because the FBI dared hold Traitor Trump accountable. They dared to do their job and apply the laws, that apply to any of us. They dared to apply the law that applies to you and me. If we took classified documents home, we would be in jail. We would have already been sentenced and we'd be doing our time. Not Traitor Trump. Now they hate the FBI. Oh, okay, because it's a very woke system. The FBI is such a woke organization that they actually followed the Constitution and the law. That's how woke they are, right? And that's what the Republicans hate. They hate this country. I hate to say it. I wish I was wrong. That's why we bring the receipts here. Am I wrong? No. And it's another example. James Comey should be arrested and sentenced to have to dismantle the FBI building hand by hand because, you know, when you hold the king accountable, you can't hold the king accountable for his crimes against the country. He's bigger than the country. He is the law. You can't imagine a time without him. You don't even imagine it. Imagining the king not in power is treason. So you can't say at 86, you can't say vote him out, you can't say get him out, remove him, stop him. Stop it. How are you going to stop, how are you going to stop the king? Except that you're going to have to, try to remove him by assassination, I suppose, because the king doesn't leave until he's dead. These motherfuckers. Right? This is who they are. And if you think I'm kidding, guys, let me show you what we're dealing with. You might have seen it. Look at this. In front of the USDA. Growing America since I can't read the date there. Who the fuck is this guy? To have his face on a banner at the USDA. It's right out of Kim Jong-un. Right? Right next to Lincoln. Yeah, you gotta say, they had to throw Lincoln in there and put them side by side. How fucking dare you? How dare you, maggots? These poor people having to hang that sign? Hang that banner? And for those listening audio only, in case you missed it, the Department of Agriculture now has a giant banner of Trader Trump's official portrait where he looks like the same mugshot. He's got the same mugshot face because he's owning us all. He's owning the country. That's what that's about. Haven't you noticed? You don't know trolling when you see it. Somebody said that, actually, which really irritated me. Let me find it. On my Twitter account. Not my Twitter. Let's see. Was it? I can't remember where it was. But, hold on. Let me find it. Where was it? Because Trump tweeted something. Or, he what is it? It's an excrement on X, right? When you excrete something. And where the fuck is it? I can't find it. Anyway, it was something stupid. He said, what the fuck was it? It was something very juvenile. That's why I wish I can find it. And somebody was like, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. Maybe I saw it on Substack. And then a maggot responded, you don't know how trolling works, do you? Ha ha ha, or something like that. And I thought, what the hell? Is that the job of the President of the United States? You don't know how trolling works? He should be trolling people, according to maggots. That's one of the the functions of the office of the presidency is to troll the libs, to troll other Americans, troll Democrats, troll the people who don't agree with you. Just troll them. Say stupid things that embarrass the country, and because you're trolling. That's what the people hired you to do, right? That's not the landslide that they pretend happened. By a very slim margin. That's what some people voted for. It's incredible. How dare these people? You know how much damage they've done to this country? Well, yeah, I know you know. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching the show. And I thank you for it. But how are we going to get to the other side of this? We have a lot of work to do. Oh, and I also, let me get back to this for a second. Lest we forget, here's Don Jr., right? I got my Paul Pelosi Halloween costume ready. Ha ha, ha ha, a hammer and underwear. Because an old guy getting hit in the head, being beaten with a hammer, that's so fucking funny, ain't it? Isn't that funny? Now, Nancy Pelosi at the time was only the third in line to the presidency. I would say that's a pretty important position in our government. So that's why it's so funny, isn't it? To make a joke, to think it's funny that a maggot who was incited by lies, by the stochastic terrorist lies of this disgusting waste of human DNA, traitor Trump and the Trump lineage, except for Mary Trump, who's the only good one. But, he incited by this traitorous, useless family to beat somebody, to beat a fellow American with a hammer, to break into their house looking for the Speaker of the House, the third in line to the presidency. Well, not that they care, To them, it's third in line to the throne. That's why maggots jump to 86's assassination. How dare you even dream of a life without the king? A kingdom without the king? That's treason. How dare you imagine Trump not being in office? Trump he's never leaving. Just get used to it. Uh-oh, here comes Tara Jr. What are you doing? You can't come up. You can't. Oh, Winston's going to bed already? Winston, I expect a 10-page paper on my desk in the morning discussing everything we discussed tonight. All right, Junior, stop it. Come on, man. Say hello. All right. Hello. Sit down. I thought he'd be sleeping by now. He had to go to the vet this morning. Go to sleep. Sleep. Come on. Do I have to put you in the bedroom? I'll do it. Don't tempt me. I should have put him in the bedroom. I'm just looking at the time. We only have a couple of minutes before we're going to lose the Progressive Voices audience, so I don't want to jump into a new thing. Is this thing on? Yeah, it is. All right. Hold on a second. Anybody have any questions from the chat room? How's everybody doing? Do you have anything you want to discuss? Because I got things on the list. Shh, Junior, stop it. Please. Now you get a little bit of a glimpse of what I deal with all day. Him. I mean, I love him. He's on my lap all day, but if not, he's meowing at me, screaming at me. All right, guys, listen. This is Tara Devlin, Unapologetic Liberal Talk. Thank you for hanging out. Progressive Voices, we will win. Come on over to youtube.com/sleepychannel/Tarabuster to watch the end of the show. Become a Political Voices subscriber. Political Voices Network. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself and Tara Dublin for The Tara Show. We will win. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. My name is Tara Devlin. See you soon. All right, we're back. Let's see. And Ed asked, do you still talk to Robin on Wednesdays? And we haven't done it in a couple of weeks. But yes, and we didn't do it, for, like I said, for the couple of weeks because we got to figure out the tech. I don't know. And we were supposed to do it this Wednesday, if I'm going to be honest, but it never happened. So I had other things to do that Wednesday, like clean Spooky's cage or pen. And that's what I did because I didn't hear from Robin. We spoke on Tuesday. No, we spoke Monday about it. And we discussed, let's do a test and figure out this tech. And it never happened. I mean, I didn't reach out to her, but she never reached out to me either. So I was busy, so I just kept being busy. And if she had reached out, I would have been like, yes, let's do it. But we never got the tech settled, so I didn't hear from her. And then you know what I mean? That's how it went. So we'll try again. I'll try maybe this week. We'll see what happens. It's just because Skype was discontinued, and that's how we used to hook up. And it has to hook up in a way that I get her on my show and she gets me on hers. So it's a simulcast. Or I guess we can do something, I don't know, where I just call into her. But I don't know. We got to figure it out. In that way, this channel doesn't have a stream, but I don't want that. I want the simulcast. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? All right, well, anyway, guys, I don't even know where to go. Should I do my big, beautiful bill, which is thankfully dead? Oh, shit. Moody's drops the hammer. I'm just looking at the Huffington Post that, of course, we lost our AAA rating. This is what Republicans do. Didn't this happen last time, too? They do a lot of damage. Maggots, don't they? Everything they touch, they turn to shit. Moody's pushes U.S. out of elite AAA credit club. Incredible. Citing rising debt. Of course, Republicans are going to use that as an excuse to cut social programs, to go after social programs, because that's what they pretend to care so much about, even though last time Trader Trump was in office, he added $8 trillion to this debt deficit that the Republicans pretend to care so much about. $8 trillion because of his tax giveaways to the rich. And this time he's already projected, in fact, the bill, the big beautiful bill, the continuation of the kiss up kick down tax giveaway, it will add another, I think, from 2 to 4 trillion, they're saying. So that's all Republicans do. They're so full of shit. I don't know how they can stand up straight. I don't know how they can stand themselves. As the Huffington Post says, Moody's on Friday cut the U.S. credit rating by one notch, citing rising debt. Rising debt interest payments that outpace those of similarly rated sovereigns in a move that marks the end of an era, as Moody's was one of the last major agencies to maintain a AAA rating for U.S. sovereign debt. The downgrade to AA1 from AAA follows a change in the outlook on the sovereign in 2023 due to wider fiscal deficit and higher interest payments. That comes as the U.S. Congress debates tax and spending plans that could deepen the U.S. fiscal hole. Unreal. But very real. This is what Republicans do. They're setting us up for failure. You know, Republicans don't set America up for success. They hurt America. Here's one of these maggots gave away the game today on Fox News. Jason Smith from Missouri.
And then you can look at Medicaid cuts, Medicaid reforms, I should say. These are all things that were right in the middle. And
reforms, if you missed that.
And then you can look at Medicaid cuts, Medicaid reforms, I should say. These are all things that were right in the middle. And
you dumb bastard. Yeah, that's a Freudian slip right there. Medicaid reforms. Yeah, we're not dumb. We know what it is. Reforms. It's cuts, you fucker. Because you need more money for the rich. Elon Musk doesn't have enough. I got to write this other article. I got to tell you about how Elon Musk, I got to put that on the top of the burner. How the Doge, this fake ass Doge thing, that they haven't saved money. They've actually cost. This fake Doge, fake committee that is nothing but a billionaire's smash and grab, that Doge has cost the taxpayers more money. And there's no savings coming from it. Okay? All it is they have destroyed. They've put monkey wrenches and poison pills into our federal government. This shining city on a hill, they're turning to a shithole. So everything that they see, they really are unfit. All of them. And they only have propaganda to go on. That's why they spend a lot of times, like when, what's his name, Madison Cawthorn. He's a perfect example. Remember him? He was a rising star in the maggot sphere who lost his job. He lost his seat in another election. He served one term, if I'm not mistaken, or two. I don't remember. Luckily, I don't. He's gone. But he told Fox News, and he was bragging about it, that the majority of his money or his campaign funds for his constituent services went to comms. That's how he put it. Comms. Communications. Not constituent services. But the bullshit. You know? And when he lost the election, instead of doing his job, you have a job. And these are the same fuckers, Republicans, when they helped. That's why they make me sick. They're with these tariffs and all, saying, oh, we're going to bring manufacturing home, when they stand in the way of manufacturing and their policies. And, and the Democrats, too, the conservative Democrats, helped, but all of the Republicans helped send manufacturing overseas. So, please spare me. your forgotten man and woman bullshit. But when Madison Cawthorn was fired by the voters of his district, instead of staying around like maggots and Republicans and the conservative Democrats expect American workers to do, to train their replacements, their Chinese replacements. That has happened so many times. I can look it up. And, you know, they do that, and then fuck off. Fuck off, Americans. Your job is now going to China. So rather than stick around, Madison Cawthorn fucked off. Like Republicans do. The voters fired him, and he left. He just left his office, his campaign office, his not his campaign office, his congressional office in his district. He left it and just moved to Florida. Goodbye. Oh, you fired me? Instead of staying there, wrapping things up, being available for his constituents, which is what you would do, what an actual public servant does, to train the people coming in. Okay, well, these are our files. We're working on these cases for the constituents. And no, that's nothing like that happened, because they weren't doing shit for their constituents. He just bugged off, went to marry a moron. That's it. That's what he did, which is so maggot. That sums them up in a nutshell. They spend the majority of their campaign, of their life, in so-called service to their district. Which is, of course, service with quotation marks, scare quotes. They're not serving the districts. They're serving themselves. Their energy goes to the bullshit. Going on Fox News, bashing liberals, owning the libs, trolling people. All that bullshit that requires comms. It requires the propaganda mill. And then when you're fired, what are you going to do? Okay, no more propaganda. We got to go. They never served their constituents. And that's what makes me so sick. So another article that I wrote for the Political Voices Substack about this big, beautiful bill went into, and this is what I try to do in general. I've written many very talking real good articles, and like I speak in good English now, and what I want to bang into everyone's head, not you guys because you already know, but any other Democrat who hasn't heard the good news of the progressive policies that built the middle class to begin with. But even I want the maggots to understand that they are slitting their own throats. I want the maggots to get a clue that they are voting for their own demise, that these red states are shithole states, that it doesn't matter, a bathroom bill, the pee-pee patrol ain't putting food on your table, boo. So this big, beautiful bill that they attempted to pass, I hear it's dead now. Good. Don't let the big crosses on Nancy Mace's neck fool you, right? Or Caroline Leavitt or Pam Bondi. Don't let their fake ass pretend love of Jesus get you all excited that they give a shit about you or anybody else but themselves. They don't. The $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, primarily benefiting high-income individuals and corporations, of course, this is what they were trying to pass. And they go on about, oh, well, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, supposedly. Bullshit, of course, but there's, that sounds, oh, wow, they threw us a bone. Now, first of all, I forgot to put this in the article. All of the pretend bones that they threw to the working suckers are temporary. Okay, just like in the bill that they're extending, that they want to extend forever and ever, amen. The first tax scam that Trump passed, all of the provisions that were for working people, they've expired already. Guys, they're not extending them. Are you kidding me? That's I mean, these people have no shame. Okay, the Republicans that these idiots vote for, they have no shame. There's no shame in their game. Why? Because they know that the idiots who vote for them are not hearing this on Fox News. And they never will. They're never going to hear that that this bill that they tried to pass hurts them. That's going to kick them off their health care. That's going to slit their throats and cut their lifelines, as Republicans always do. The deep cuts to social programs. So, let me go back up, because this is because I was researching it. What do people say about, the no tax on tips bullshit? First of all, no, I don't know if you've ever worked for tips. I haven't. I've never been a waitress or anything like that, or bartender. But I have friends who are, and a lot of times that you do declare some of it, but most of it is going in your pocket. You're not declaring it. So what is the big fucking whoopee doopie? Not that, you're supposed to declare it. Yeah, okay. But that's just the reality of life. You somebody gives you $5, you put it in your pocket, you spend it, you're not going to declare it. So, whoopee doopie. No tax on tips, so you don't have to worry about that. But Annie Lowry, who knows a little bit more about economics than I do, from The Atlantic, said that although the extension of tips and overtime, exemption of tips and overtime seems like it would benefit waiters and sales clerks, it will more likely make the tax code more regressive. Most low-income workers do not pay federal income taxes, and hedge fund managers and lawyers will figure out a way to tie these provisions into a loophole. It's just another loophole for the rich to exploit. Doesn't that seem more likely that these, masters of the universe, they'll just write it down. They'll say, oh, well, these were tips. Sort of like how the Supreme Court legalized bribery. Because it's not a bribe. It's a gratuity, like a tip. That's what where the fuck? When does this come to an end? This timeline. It's the corruption is so. It's so out in the open, and that is because. They got the propaganda media. They know that. Which is why I always implore Democrats, and thank you guys for supporting the channel, supporting the Political Voices Network and all that, and everything else that you guys do to keep the show going and growing. Because they're not going to say this on Fox News or even on the so-called liberal media. But that's why people vote against their own demise. Or vote, not against, for. That's why people vote for their own demise. And that's why the maggots will continue to do it, because they know what's going to get played on Russian-funded influencers. What they're going to focus on. And what Fox News, the channel that makes its viewers less informed than people who watch no news at all, what they're going to talk about. They're not going to. What are they going to talk about? They're not going to talk about the fact that, the Republican budget is cutting their lifelines. They're going to talk about Nancy Mace. They're going to talk about how Nancy Mace stood up for women, for biological women, right? And biological men or whatever, making women or whatever the fuck. Who cares? That's what they're going to talk about. They're going to say, oh, thank goodness that women are safe from trans people. Give us a break. Yeah, they're cutting, student loan relief. This is why I can't take it. Anything that invests in the future, sending our fellow Americans to school is an investment we make in all of us. Oh, well, yeah, you don't want to go to gender studies. That's it. They go to gender studies classes. Woke. They learn wokeness. DEI. When, once again, maggots realize, they don't realize that maggots miss the fact that, gender studies class, that's a sign of a shining city on a hill. They don't seem to get that. Isn't that the point of having a functioning society that works for all, right? That the shining city on a hill, that we've come so far. We have our working class makes, they earn a living wage and retirement security. We're free to go to the doctor when we're sick. We can take a vacation. We have nice, time off to go walk on the effing beach and write a poem or whatever the hell, to do the human things, to enjoy this blip of time. We don't have to spend it every second toiling, living hand to mouth. That's why our ancestors fought a revolution, to escape the intergenerational aristocracy and monarchy, right? I mean, I'm speaking now in wishes and dreams, because that's what it's supposed to be, where, okay, you can get rich in the country, but not so rich that you destroy the government, that you gobble up our general welfare like it's your own personal goddamn Jabba the Hutt snack. That, you could be rich, but you don't get to lord over us. You don't get to swallow up the government that promotes the general welfare. I mean, I want to get to that point. It's coming. It is coming. That's why we have an obligation to tell the truth to people, to wake people up, to wake these maggots up, because they're not hearing it on maggot media. But, that's the shining city on a hill. We have so solved the problems of everyday living that we get to sit around and we can just, think about what it means to be human. Right? We could contemplate our navels a little bit. And that's what gender studies classes are for. We can take a look at ourselves. We look in the mirror and wonder, hey, what is gender? Why is it? Why is gender is a construct? Let's break that down. Let's talk about that. Let's think about that. Because all of the critical thinking leads to, who knows? Might lead to exploring the universe one day. Right? Unlike fucking Elon Musk, like we got to sit around while that grifter pretends to be some kind of genius that's going to take us to Mars. Give me a break with this shit. But that's what Republicans don't get. That a shining city on a hill, has gender studies classes. That's why the founders fought a revolution. We get to think about our lives. we get to wonder and study and pour our attentions into things that interest us. We don't have to simply toil in the fields, whether we like it or not. I mean, I can't take these people. But that's what Republicans do. They want everybody to be them. Either you're rich. If you're rich, all of this shit doesn't apply, of course. Different rules for Republicans. Not only different rules. I mean, there are different rules for Republicans, and there's an entirely different rule book for Trader Trump. So, people need to, because, the thing is, the maggots are self-centered, They really are. They're pathologically selfish. That's another thing I gotta write about. I gotta write this shit down. When I come up, let's see, write an article. An article about let's see, selfishness is just the starting point. I wanted to write an article about how how selfishness and democracy cannot live in the same house, so to speak. That we have to get out of this self-serving, self-centeredness and stop. What really stuck with me was when Officer Michael Fanone, when Trader Trump was elected again, shamefully, that he said to Anderson Cooper, I believe, we're selfish because the American people are selfish, self-centered, and we don't give a shit about anybody but ourselves. And he's 100% correct, and we should be ashamed of that. How do you vote for someone like Trader Trump after everything he did? Because he promises to lower your price of eggs? How dare you? How dare you believe that? And, now we only have a few minutes left in the show. I was thinking about when Harris was being interviewed by Bret Baier, whatever that was. The interview was, of course, a disgrace. Bret Baier was he was interrupting her rudely, constantly, because that's how maggots roll. It's sort of like how Trader Trump treats Zelensky as opposed to Mohammed bin Bonesaw. That's the way Fox News fascists treat Democratic politicians as opposed to their dear leader, who is the biggest waste of human DNA ever to walk the planet. So, and to inflict itself on a struggling, great country. We have the potential to be great. But thinking about the way that Bret Baier was talking to Harris, but then he asked her, "Oh, what do you think? The maggots are stupid?" Just paraphrasing. That half the country supports Trader Trump. Are you calling them stupid? And Harris was like, "No," she recoiled. "Heaven forbid. No." What she should have said, and this is what, I agree with Steve Schmidt to a point, not about how, we should go on about Biden's age, but that there has to be a trust. The Democrats have to build trust, again, with the voter, and you do that through honesty. And what Harris should have said, instead of thinking or second-guessing herself, thinking, well, what would the political... not the pundits, who the ones that, the advisors tell, what would they want me to say? Those fucking geniuses. She should have said, I don't know if they're stupid or not, but they're certainly misinformed. And in fact, I hate to tell them, this channel, Fox News, was cited by a judge, the largest fine or judgment against a media company in American history for lying to its viewers. Do you tell your viewers this? How about the numerous studies that show that Fox News makes its viewers less informed than people who watch no news at all? Say that. You have to say that. Democrats, you have to tell the people what they're dealing with. And the fact that the Democrats don't do it, that every time they get in front of a camera and they're talking about, media or whatever, you say, these people are getting their information from right-wing influencers who are literally funded by the Kremlin. Why? Why does the Kremlin have so much interest in getting Trump elected, in keeping Trump in power? Why? Right? What the fuck? Will people listen to me? Will Democrats listen to me? They better. What do you think? Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, you let me know, because we'll talk about it. So, yeah, the Republicans, with this big, beautiful bill, of course, on Fox News, they weren't going to hear that 1 in 3 in Mississippi. Let's go through a couple of states. I wrote about this on the Political Voices Substack. The GOP has held power in Mississippi for 40 years. But 1 in 3 children, 1 in 3, 1/3 of the children of Mississippi live in poverty. I mean, if Republican policies are so effing successful, wouldn't that be something to work on? Or isn't that a disgrace? Why are you voting Republican? People who live in Mississippi? Because they hate the same people you do? Yes. And they get their identity from that. They get their identity from Democrats because from bashing Democrats. They've heard. That's why the Democrats have a low approval rating. I went over it on another article. It's because of propaganda. It's because of the lies that they have been hammered with for 40 years. From Rupert Murdoch's Poison Pustule, from GOP TV, Roger Ailes going to the Nixon White House saying, we need a propaganda channel. And they have been quite successful because everything starts with a story. And these people are not getting this shit. They're not making it up out of their heads. They're not reading books. They're not reading, informing themselves. They're not reading the New York Times or any other so-called legitimate news source. They're getting their news from Fox News, from a channel that makes them less informed, that has a vested interest in keeping Republicans in power. Why? Because of exactly what we're witnessing. The absolute corporate capture of this government. The billionaires have, like FDR warned about, they have not only come to think that the government of the United States is an appendage of their affairs, they have captured it, and they have made it so. The government of the United States is an appendage to the affairs of billionaires. We see it's all around us. That's why, they were waiting for something like that, like James Comey's stupid seashells. They need that. They got to get that off the front burner. They have to get Pete Hegseth's Signalgate off top of mind. Cling to something. Find another distraction to hammer home with these dumbasses. Yeah, Mississippi, 40 years of Republican rule. 1 in 3 children live in poverty. 22% rely on Medicaid. This budget would have been a death sentence for their constituents, but yet the Republicans voted for it. The Republican representatives from Mississippi voted to slit the throats of their own constituents. West Virginia, GOP rule for 24 years. The highest opioid death rate in the nation, of course. They claim, what's her name? Senator Shelley Capito claims to support recovery while voting to gut Medicaid, which funds half of addiction treatment services. So she's just sentencing more people to death. And of course, the Republicans have already stopped the federal funding of, what's that drug? The Narcan, which saves lives. It's been a successful program. You know, you can get Narcan, you can have it on hand if you have a son, a daughter, whoever, a friend, a husband, anyone, a parent that has an opioid addiction and you're struggling you don't want them to die, and you have Narcan on hand, because that might literally save their life. Republicans cut that. They don't want to save lives. Die. That's the Republican health care plan. You know, don't be an addict. Don't be sick. Don't get sick. And if you do, die quickly, right? That's it. Guys, thank you for hanging out tonight, and thank you for hanging out on the Tara Show Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Political Voices Network with myself and Tara Dublin. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will win. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Thank you, Jim, for being a moderator. We stick together, we win. I'll see you soon. Yeah, I'm reading your messages in the chat. I'm sorry to hear that. Elise writes, my brother totally bought into Fox, I guess, faux misinformation. It destroyed our relationship. I'm sorry to hear that. And that's what Republicans do. You know, I mean, they never bring people together, because they have so cultified their, assault on democracy. The way that they've messaged for years, and this is another reason why like we were saying, why the people continue to vote against their own better interests, to put it mildly. They have so vilified Democrats to the point where being a Democrat is basically, according to maggots, it's the worst thing you can be. You're a traitor if you're a Democrat. So when they message, they continue to go on and harp on that propaganda. How do you have a functioning government, that depends on cooperation, that runs on cooperation, that requires adults to be able to come to the table and hash things out for their constituents? And that's all they're doing in the Congress, passing laws. Ideally, we pay our taxes, right? And our representatives in the legislature, they pass laws, they hash it out with public input of how the money is spent. So, if you're Fox News fascist propagandists and Kremlin-funded influencers are basically saying that being a Democrat is the worst thing you could be, so how do you compromise with Democrats? You can't. They make the governing, the very system that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us, they make that basically non-functional. You can't function. It cannot function when one party will not compromise. Will not, and the other party is fucking compromising too much. They're overcompensating with the compromise. Give me a break. That's why Schumer has to go. We should have talked about that too, but we'll talk about it more again. Because, I mean, Schumer is acting like it's normal, regular order. They just confirmed what's the guy's name again? Vice chair of the Air Force? Who cares? Why are you confirming somebody? Schumer and Democrats? Why? Your job is to throw gears in the machine of fascism. Period. This goddamn disgrace who's going around with his hand out like a baby bird. He's going around like a baby bird. You know, the gaping mouth open while the world's worst people throw money in it. They know what he is. You just got to flatter him. You just got to give him shit. It is the worst. He is the worst. It's a disgrace. He hates this country. He has no idea. Everything about this country that actually makes it great, he hates. He thinks is weak. And so do they. So do maggots. Let's see. Democrats confirmed. Air Force. I think it was the Air Force Vice Chair. Just going to look this up before we hang it up for the evening. Because I got to lay down. Get unconscious. Yeah. Let's... No. That's not the right one. Oh, God. Sometimes I don't like... Let's see. I don't like this AI. You always got to check it. Who was it? Oh, wait. The Joint Chiefs of Staff? Wait, let me ask it. Who did the Dems recently help confirm? I think it was an overwhelming margin. That's why I'm looking it up. Let's see. Oh, come on. Yes, it was Troy Mink, M-E-I-N-K, Mink, confirmed as, not Vice Chair, Secretary of the Air Force. And it was like, it was only 25 Democrats. Let me see. Dems vote. Let's see. Newly confirmed Secretary of the Air Force, having been approved by the U.S. on May 13th, 2025, with a bipartisan vote of 74 to 25. Why? Oh, because, you know why? Because Democrats, they want to seem reasonable to maggots. What? No, it's not regular order, Dems. You get it? We got a crime spree happening. We have a con man running free through our federal treasury with a freaking unelected South African sociopath parasite billionaire who hates America. These people are funded by Nazis. Not funded. They're funding Nazis. Like Peter Thiel funds Curtis Yarvin, a Nazi, and also J.D. Vance. So that's what we're dealing with, Chuck Schumer. We don't need you to validate any of these maggots. Your job is to stop, to slow it down until we get to the midterms or the next election. So we can, have something to rebuild from. All right, guys. Thank you. I love you too, Elise. Thank you so much for your kind words. And thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jim, Elise, and SYC Jim, and Errol. Thank you, guys. Oh, hi, Trucker John. Nice to see you there. I didn't see you. And everyone else in the chat room, thank you so much. Suzanne. A lot of guys went to sleep. A Golf, nice to see you. Kathy, Twisted Nerves Painting. Love you all, guys. Thank you. All right, listen, I gotta go. I'm tired. Well, you want to see Junior? Let's see if I can show you him. If my iPhone camera can start. Click to start. Let's go. Let's go, iPhone camera. Here we go. Let me see. There he is. Come on. Come on. Oh, it's locked. Is that it? It won't turn on. Maybe if I do this? No, it won't go. What is happening? Damn you. What's this? Oh, maybe this. Guess too. You see what I have to deal with? Oh, there he is. Look at him. Tara Jr. That is Tara Devlin. Yes. How you doing, honey? There he is. Look at him. He's like, what is that in my face? You don't understand, do you? All right. All right. I woke you up. Yes, honey. He looks like me, right? As a cat. So we kind of look alike, right? See? Junior, look over here. See? If we were cat, if I was a cat. Ah. Ah. Meow. All right, honey. Time for Betty Betty. Time for Betty bye. Now my other stuff's not working. All right. It don't matter. Oh, there we go. And then this. And then this. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I love you. Have a great rest of your weekend. And I will see you on Tuesday at the Tara Show. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, no fighting. No fighting. Look. Boudica came up. Now I got to show her too. Great. Buddha. And now they're going to fight. Wait. Go away. Screen share. Boudica. Isn't she pretty? All right. Back to business. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. So, and also become whatever at the Substack. And because I'm going to be doing videos there too. Oh, and it's Memorial Day, is it? Oh my God, I forgot. And thank you, Elise, for your super chat right under the gate, right before we close. So thank you. And thank you, Jim. I will see you Tuesday. Thank you for being a moderator here and at the Tara Show. We need you. A lot more people at the Tara Show, but maybe we'll get some of them to come over here on Friday nights. We'll get a new influx of new people to, for you guys to hang out with, for all of us to hang out with. All right, my friends, thank you for hanging out tonight. And I'm going to be doing videos, so at the Political Voices Network. So please make sure to subscribe, and writing articles, so you can share them with your friends and support that, if you will, because it matters. It keeps, I don't know, you know already. You don't have to explain it. All right, my loves, I love you, and stay safe. I will see you on Tuesday afternoon.